Welcome back to underneath my 911. You can see that little shock there is all black. It's not supposed to be all black. I think these are actually yellow or white or something. I don't know what color they are, but it's covered in oil. And we have a problem. My whole garage floor has just been getting doused in oil. I've been throwing pads underneath, but just been soaking through. I've been out of town, so I haven't really been able to tend to it. The goal is to break that nut, go up on the top side. Then we're gonna loosen up that bolt right there at the top of the shock. Once that's all done, we'll lift the car up and slide them out. Then, when we're done with that side, we'll rinse and repeat over here. The only issue is to get to that one, you have to remove this whole air box and everything out of the way. I took the wheel off and I rubbed a little bit of this greasy oil off, and I was a liar. I guess this tube is black. Anyways, my biggest issue was I thought I had an oil leak coming from the engine. And anytime there's any issues, it seems like with these cars, engine out. Instant lots of money. And I was really hoping that wasn't the deal, and I was scared that engine oil was splashing out onto the shock. Took the wheel off, checked it out, looked up inside there, and it looks like there's just leaking oil from the top end there, and the shock's blown and just been spilling all over this muffler here. When I pull the shock out, I'm gonna clean all this up too, make it look kind of pretty in here. It's a little dirty. Tried to break this bolt, or this bolt right here. It's a toughie. We're gonna have to use maybe air power or electric power, but the old arm power isn't doing it. Now that we got the bottom bolt undone and loosened up, time to take the top of the shock off. There's a square peg and a nut, and if you just try to screw the nut or undo the nut, it'll just spin. So you gotta hold the square peg while loosening up the nut. So I thought I had a ratchet wrench in 17 mil, but I only got up to 16, so that kind of sucks. So I grabbed the old pad here. You can see it's all rotten and cracked out. Got the nut and the washer, but these new shocks already come with all that stuff, so this is just good as trash. Got the old one out. It is super oily. Ooh, how exciting. Voila. Look at that. Let's see if it looks the same. It does. Pretty sweet. Gonna redo the steps just the other way. So you can see on the top here, there's actually a Allen key to throw in there. Versus here, I use the vice grips because this is squared off. You can see right there, it's all squared so we can get better focused. That's the old style, and this is the new one. Actually, before I go and throw that shock in, I wanted to clean this up with a little degreaser. Look how dirty that is. It's been sounding really rough. I'm curious if this gasket here is just gone and I've gotten a little bit of an exhaust leak going down. It just sounds so rough. I don't know, maybe that's just me wanting it to sound like a smooth, well-oiled machine. Didn't really get taken care of at a Porsche dealer or anything. It's just kind of a free mechanic was watching over it from my understanding. I mean, maybe he does good work. I have no idea. I just don't know what the deal is with this car. All I know is that it was leaking a lot of oil out of that shock, and we took it out and just cleaning it up now. Now we got it all washed up. It's gonna go right up in that hole. We're gonna put a nut on it to hold it in place, and then push with all our might to get it to be popped back on to that hole. So what I did here is I put the bolt in here, and then put the jack under here and lifting it, just jacking it up slowly in order to get into here where it's hard to see, but the threads, the top of the shock is just poking out of its hole. So I'm going to keep jacking it up till it's all the way through. So I did a little trick where I stuck my hand in here and guided the top of the shock into the hole all the way, and then just with my foot was just picking this up and pushing it down, picking it up, pushing it down, and got it all the way to the top. Yeah, the threads are really poking up and that little sleeve's poking through. It was getting caught up originally, and so I needed both hands and everything. And then on top of that, put the washer, 17 mil nut. It's a nylon nut, so I can only get it down that far. Well, I just did what I didn't want to do, and that was drop my wrench somewhere in there. Yeah, I dropped my 5 mil Allen wrench somewhere down in there. I have no idea. I'm kind of hoping I could see it with the camera, and then maybe I can fish it out with the magnet. But I'm not seeing anything. Oh, that's a bummer. Well, that's exciting. I was able to fish it right out. I could kind of see it in between some components in there, and yeah, got her. All right, let's get back to it. Done. Fully installed. I torqued this down to 100 foot-pounds. I'm not sure what the torque specs are to it, but I figured that was a pretty safe bet. And then the top, it just ran out of threads, and I just tightened down as much as I could. But yeah, pretty stoked on it. Old Bilstein's in there. Bilstein yellows. Now on to the passenger side, which is going to be a little bit more of a hassle due to getting the airbox out. We're going to get the wheel on, drop it down, and jack up the other side. I thought this was pretty neat. Porsche has their own wheel lock, and then you get its own key for it. So we're gonna put that over, lock it up, pop it off. That thing won't come off. And then there's a nice little cap for it. We're all good. We have to remove this air box out of the way, and it has these clips here. There's 4 of them. There's one here, one there, and then 2 on the other side. And I don't know how you're supposed to get your hand back there, but I was able to. I just kept shoving it back there, and I got that clip popped, and then on the bottom one, I had to come up under here and just finagle my way out. So getting them in will be the more interesting part of it all. Take this out. Doing it with one hand's probably not the most ideal thing, but while we're here, we might as well. Look at that. That is chewed up. I don't know if it's by animal or what it's chewed up from, but it doesn't look good. Hopefully it didn't make it into the engine. That'd be horrible. Way back here is where the other shock tower is. I wish I had my light. I lost them. To take this box off, there's a couple bolts inside here that are connected to this thing. Got to remove some bolts that are in there, and there's a bolt here and a couple other things. Once that box is out, then I have better access to back here. You found this bolt inside this air box when I took the air filter off, and I'm curious as to where it goes because I looked all up in there and I couldn't find anything, so it's kind of got me a little worried, but whatever. Let's take it apart more and see where we go from there. Then when I took the air filter out, this is pretty chewed up. And whoever put the air filter in really kind of mangled the crap out of it when it was installed. So new air filter is already ordered and on the way. I forgot that. Behind this airbox, there is a little tube that I forgot to detach. So we're gonna kind of stick that back there so I can get some access. On top of this clip that needs to be undone, there's these 2 screws here that are holding these hoses. And I'm hoping that after I undo those screws, this gives me enough release that I can pull the box a little closer. Without saying it, it's pretty tight working inside this little 911. Let's see if I can pull this box out, and maybe I will be able to get to that clip a little easier. All right, got the airbox out. There's a little hose. Now I need to get up into here and get a hold of that is the top hat to the strut. It's a little tighter in here, but we're gonna still make it work. I'm gonna shove some paper towel into this. With the wheel off, now I have easier access to this bottom bolt. We're just gonna loosen it up and then go back to the top and finish unthreading that completely out. Once that's completely done, then we'll take this out and slide it all the way down. What I did seems kind of weird, but it works. I put the bolt in the bottom here and thread it in, and then put the jack underneath the trailing arm so it can push it up. Then I stick my finger in there and wait till I feel the thread come in, and then once I feel the thread come in, I just align it for the hole. There's this lip here, and if you don't align it like that, you catch the lip. You can see I got the bushing in there with the nut and the washer on there. I just got to put the 5mm hex on the top and the 17mm wrench and tighten on down. And then once we're done with that, we'll go to the bottom and tighten that bolt in. I put the car down with it jacked up, and trying to reach up in here, it was just way too high. It's all about comfort, right? I was able to get that bolt all done. Pretty stoked that that's finished. Got the wheels all torqued up. So onto this bear of a bolt. Got this all finished up. I ended up finding a little bar that I could put on the end of my Allen key, because just holding it was just a tear. And then I used my son's toy gas tank to kind of prop everything up. And then I was able to just quickly turn the nut, like I said, a third or a quarter at a time, just super small amounts. But we got there, we're all done. Just gotta take all this stuff out and put the air box back in, and we're done. Then once the new air filter comes in, we're gonna replace that bad puppy as well. That thing is junk. I do not want to even put it back in, but we're gonna do that in case I need to move the car and I don't want to suck up any debris. At the beginning of the video, I mentioned that I found a bolt and I had no idea where it went. Well, when I opened this up, these two bolts were in and that bolt at the top was in, but that one, however, was not. So I'm glad it didn't go anywhere. Looks like it would have been just fine. Anyways, we're gonna put that back in and just gotta tighten up that little bolt and the one that goes there, and we should be good. Oh, there's the two screws that go here and here, and then the tube that goes on that. Got the airbox all bolted in. There's 4 bolts back here, or inside here. There's 4 bolts inside there. There's one in here and one right here. Then there's the 2 screws there and that clip. Now we're gonna try to put this air filter in, even though it's all banged up. What I don't really like is that we have these clips, but it's difficult. I gotta flip it over and then pull that back. Now I have to get my arm like this, and this whole airbox takes up all that space. My best bet is to try. That's all I can do is try. The air filter box is in, not perfect. I don't really like it. Doing a little research, one place just said, do the clip and then go on the back side and do the clip. They must have super tiny hands, because while I can touch the clip, I can't do much more than touch it. And that's about it. And not even mentioning the other clip that's right here. And when I stick my hand down in here, I'm touching about midway of the airbox, unless I can come in this way, which I can get my fingers around, but I gotta get to the bottom of the airbox. I can get that second clip, or that third clip up there, and get these two, and I should be good. Everything I found, the videos I found on YouTube, people were just doing these two and that one, and just kind of ignored talking about that bottom one. Nope. Can I stick my hand in here? Nope. How about in here? Nope. Can't go it anywhere. Maybe if I got a couple more fingers or a couple more joints and skinnier arms, I can snake my way down in there. Maybe it's just a thing. Well, Porsche owners are like, hey, you just leave that open. It's all good. Don't worry about it. This is the messed up filter anyways. You can even see it's not seated right. And because it's all broken up and janky, it doesn't really want to sit in there really well. And I just wanted to see if I could pop it in because I need to get used to being able to pop it in and pop it out, you know? Like if I'm gonna keep maintenance up on this car, it's gonna be part of what I do. So anyways, that's my struggle with it. While I was editing, this showed up. It says here, direction of paper pleats. So we will put it in like so. Make sure everything is seated.